How to deal with pain, disappointment, and negative thoughts. If you want answers to these questions, watch this video part 12, where I talk about how I dealt with all of these on my leadership experiments. I call this project Choose Discomfort for Imagine Nepal. So let me give you a bit of context. My entire journey has been extremely fulfilling. I had a great team, I had a lot of fun. Yet I can think of 2 or 3 moments when I felt extremely alone and low. One was when my team did not have so much faith that we would win or that we would do well at all. I felt really bad because I felt lonely and people did not trust our vision enough. But more than that, I think what hurt me was when, for one of the videos that I truly loved, I put in my heart and soul and my everything into that video. The video went on to do extremely well on social media. It went viral. We had 2,400 likes within 43 minutes, which is the first time it's ever happened in my life. For that particular video, we got the worst marks ever and we came last. Now at that point, I can't tell you what it was. It was a sense of disappointment and it was a sense of embarrassment. You know, you're vulnerable, your failure is being seen by the entire world. There were so many negative thoughts in my head, I cannot tell you. Dread, fear, embarrassment, and most importantly, this feeling of wanting to run away from everything. But here is the thought process that I used. And why I'm sharing this out in such great details is because I know many leaders face this. I know many entrepreneurs, I know many leaders and managers face these kind of thoughts when you have a startup, when you're doing something for the first time. And you don't know whether you want to go ahead, whether you want to stop it, what you want to do with it. But here is how I dealt with this entire chain of pain and disappointment and difficulty, and how I mentally worked my way around this problem. I'm sharing this here in great detail, just so that hopefully it's going to have some takeaways that you can benefit from in your own life. First, I looked at the larger picture. I actually remember this one morning, I woke up very early, 4:30. I wasn't getting sleep. I was really hurt, really sad, felt dread. I woke up in the morning and without anybody around, I distanced myself from the situation and I looked at the larger picture almost from a bird's eye view. You know, this is Mannsi Agrawal, this is her entire life, maybe 70, 80 years or whatever, and this is Imagine Nepal. How much of an implication does it have in the longer course of your life? This one loss or failure or whatever you may call it, in the larger picture, it's actually just a dot, it's just a blip. Looking at it from a third person's or a bird's eye view or an outsider's perspective really helped me to disconnect emotionally with it, really helped me to understand that this wasn't the end of my life. I was attaching a lot of emotions to it because it meant a lot to me, yet I also had the objective understanding that this wasn't everything. So I think doing that really helped me. If you're going through a situation wherein you are consumed by a particular thought, just looking at it from above, from a bird's eye view, gives you an understanding that in the larger scheme of things, this is very tiny. So that's number one. Number two, I was getting all these negative thoughts. I don't want to go back. Should I just fake that I'm sick? Should I just call Prakash and say I don't want to be a part of this show anymore? I had all these negative thoughts because so many of my hopes were pinned on that one video, which did miserably, and a video that I still completely, truly love from the bottom of my heart. So I had these negative thoughts and I wanted to work out these negative thoughts in a positive way. And what I did was I used a 3-step process. I use this for just about everything that I do, anything that's negative that needs to be converted into positive, how to convert negative thoughts into positive thoughts. And I'm just sharing them with you now. Number one, I sat down and I wrote all the things that I was still grateful for. You know, this little drama or this little episode is happening in my life, yet what are the things I'm still grateful for? What are the things I still got out of this? I realized so many messages of love from people. The video going crazy viral, and you know, we had, I think, over 9 lakh views if I look at it right now. And just the fact that there was so much of appreciation, so many people had shared the video, so many people loved it. I think there was just so much to be grateful for that I stopped thinking about the negatives. Number two, in that negative framework, when I knew that my mind was going to work only negatively, I wanted to run away, I wanted to not go back for the show, I wanted to never show my face again because I was so hurt and embarrassed. In that negative space, I asked myself, instead of me, if my younger sister would have been in this scenario, what advice would I have given her? I didn't ask my brain, Mannsi, what should I do now? No. Because I know that our brains, when we are consumed by emotions, sometimes gives us not the best advice. But when I say, if my younger sister or if my son or if my daughter or if my mother was in this same situation, what advice would I give her? Your brain generally does a more logical and objective way of looking at things. So when I asked myself this question, my brain gave me a better advice. And the advice was, doesn't matter what happened, you are not a quitter. You're going to stand up, suit up and show up. And that's exactly what I did. I stood up. I realized we made a few mistakes. No, I'm not going to call them mistakes. I realized that we were disappointed, yet we stood up, we suited up, we got ready, and we showed up. We went back with the same amount of energy for the next episode again, and the next episode was history. We got 9.5 from the judge, and we did well. So the second thing that I did was, what advice would you give to somebody else? Somebody who's younger than you, somebody who's dependent on you. And that really helped. The third thing that I did was, to get me from a negative to a positive framework, was what did I learn from this? Not just that particular video, but the entire experience of Imagine Nepal. And I realized that I may not be the best filmmaker in the country. I may not have learned too much about filmmaking, yet what I learned was this: leadership, change, transformation, growth, working with a team. And I learned so many different things. And when I went through this black diary that I have, when I went through that, I realized it was full of pages of scribbles and scrawls that were full of invaluable lessons. And that's the day that this idea to actually put down all these videos, to make these videos, came in my head. Because I truly and firmly and 100% believe that even from the darkest time in your life, even from the pain, there will be lessons and learnings. And it's worthwhile to document them. For yourself sometimes, for the world sometimes. But no matter what it is, there's always something positive to learn, to look forward to. So there you have it. How I managed to come out of that negative framework, by looking at the larger picture, by still seeing what I was grateful for, by asking myself how I would advise somebody younger than me in a similar situation, and finally also understanding that there was a lot of learning, to get that learning and to document that learning. And truly, it is because of that pain that I experienced that morning that this series, Project Discomfort, came into being, because that's exactly what it was. It was about me learning and accepting that discomfort. It was about me choosing discomfort and choosing to grow with it. It was about me being vulnerable and naked and expressing myself without a script, without everything, in front of all of you. And I think that this has come out of that pain, and that's what we need to do. Take pain, take negativity, convert it into lessons, into positivity. And that's really what this is about.